Good morning, everyone. I'm meteorologist Taylor Stephenson here at 13 News Now, a news station based in Norfolk, Virginia. That's right next door to Virginia Beach, where we talk about the biggest weather headlines of the day, which includes here in southeastern Virginia and next door neighbors in northeastern North Carolina, throughout the entire country. And also we look at the biggest weather headlines from around the world. The weather desk happens every Monday through Friday, starting at 9 a.m. Now, we're going to get right into it because we have a lot to talk about today, and a lot of it revolves around snow, if not most of it. We have an historic winter storm that is impacting the Northeast as we speak today. This storm could bring easily 1 to 2 feet of snow for coastal areas around the Northeast, gusty winds, blizzard conditions, and coastal flooding. We'll talk more about what we're seeing around the Northeast and what's expected with that huge nor'easter that's impacting multiple states this morning. Plus, we have, unfortunately, another angle of the Utah deadly avalanche with the young girl who passed away in that disaster. We'll talk more about the people who were there rescuing her. Speaking of rescuing, Italian hikers were getting rescued from one of the places and mountains there over in Italy. And then we'll talk more about Hampton Roads and the work week outlook that we have in place. So here's a look at our satellite and radar. And we're seeing the snow just pounding places around the Northeast, Boston through Rhode Island. So that includes Providence into portions of Connecticut, New York City still seeing some snowfall, Jersey still seeing some snowfall, really wrapping up the snow here on the Delmarva Peninsula. And then here we are in Norfolk and Virginia Beach. And we had snowfall yesterday night, obviously not as intense as it is up there because temperatures were just not cold enough to support snowfall for the majority of its event. We had mainly some of that rainfall yesterday morning through the afternoon, finally switching over into snowfall by the evening time, though short-lived. Now, this winter storm is bringing the snow from here, all the way in Virginia, all the way up into Maine. That is up to 70 million people who are feeling impacts from this coastal storm, which is far from over. ABC's Lando Moise is in New York, where whiteout conditions have led to a travel ban until noon today.
Overnight, a powerful nor'easter slamming the east coast from Virginia to New England, unleashing dangerous winds, coastal flooding, and dumping up to 2 feet of snow.
Horizontal, vertical, even diagonally. That's how the snow is falling right now. It really is something to see. 7 states declaring a state of emergency.
Hopefully everybody stays home and doesn't come out in this.
More than 40 million people under a blizzard warning, including New Jersey, which hasn't seen a statewide warning of this magnitude in 30 years. Tens of thousands of customers in the state were without power overnight. Parts of Massachusetts could see wind gusts topping 70 miles per hour, creating whiteout conditions, making travel extremely dangerous.
The fewer vehicles on the streets, the faster our teams can clear roads and respond to emergencies.
New York City issuing a travel ban until noon today for all vehicles, shutting down streets, highways, and bridges. New Jersey Transit and the Long Island Railroad suspending service, and in Philadelphia, buses are no longer running. The storm also paralyzing major airports with more than 7,000 delays and nearly 3,500 cancellations Sunday, leaving some passengers stranded.
People that got canceled aren't going to get a flight to Thursday if they're lucky.
Schools canceled today throughout the Northeast, with many districts switching to remote learning. But in New York City, Mayor Zohran Mamdani opting for a traditional snow day, calling one student to share the good news.
I thought as the mayor I wanted to call you and give you some news. We've got a full snow day tomorrow. No online school, yes! No remote learning, full classic snow day.
Again, here in New York, we are in a travel ban until at least noon, and there was a snowplow that overturned, leading to a hazmat situation. Officials are urging everyone to please stay off the road so the plows can do their work. Lionel Moise, ABC News, New York.
The student made me laugh so much during that story, just because that was just pure joy of like having no school, no virtual learning. I'm Gen Z, so I remember the days of where when we had a snow day, it was actually a snow day. There was no way to actually do online classes. Of course, that switched when I was in college and COVID came around. And unfortunately, because of that pandemic, we had to of course, switch to virtual learning and learn how to operate in a virtual manner. So I'm glad some of those kids in New York get to have a real actual snow day. Now, speaking of New York, we had that plow truck that overturned in Bay Shore, which is on Long Island. Here's a look at the aftermath. That plow is from the New York Department of Transportation. Hazmat teams were there for hours cleaning up diesel fuel. Another team is monitoring the waterway for hazards. Now we're going to take it to Massachusetts, and as you heard, the storm has forced airlines across the Northeast to cancel or delay thousands of flights. That also includes some flights that were going to the Northeast from Norfolk International Airport this morning. Aaron Pagayan spoke to stranded travelers at Logan International Airport.
With a potentially historic nor'easter closing in at Logan Airport Sunday, all eyes are fixed to the flight status board growing redder by the minute.
We had to move up. We were actually planning on leaving tomorrow at 7 in the morning, but then they canceled our flight.
Those visiting Boston having to adjust their return home plans, still not sorted out ahead of the storm.
They canceled my flight, and we're currently on a standby list, but I'm 20 in line, and I rebooked till Tuesday, but I'm hoping to get on a flight today out.
At the baggage claim are folks who took a long road to try and get back to Boston.
A couple canceled flights, but happy to be here.
Michael Santana says weather elsewhere almost derailed his efforts to beat the snow.
We ended up missing our flight last night due to the weather. Unfortunately lucked out and got a flight this morning, but we had 2 canceled flights due to the weather in Boston.
And with flights to New York also getting axed, Santana is hopping in his car to finish the final leg of his journey.
Hitting the road as soon as possible.
Some New Englanders are jetting off to warmer weather, anxiously holding out hope they can be wheels up.
It says it's on time right now. I'm very nervous that it's exactly when my flight's supposed to be here.
Though Christina Chamberlain is not looking forward to what she'll come home to later this week.
There's too much snow. There's a lot of snow.
Now let's talk more about this impactful and potentially historic nor'easter that's impacting the Northeast at the moment. Again, we're going to look at this cyclone. Look at the strength of this. The occluded front just wrapping around it, showing how mature this system is. It almost has like a tropical look to it, where you see the swirl and you kind of see like a clearing in the middle. Not tropical, of course. This is like a regular mid-latitude cyclone that's producing those north to northeast winds. That's why we call it a nor'easter. Now, we take it here to the Delmarva Peninsula. We had snowfall in places like Chincoteague where, and I'll show you the storm reports, we had someone report 9.5 inches on Wobbs Island in Accomack County. If you go to Delaware, still some snow ongoing, southern Maryland as well, southern Jersey and Atlantic City. You get to Philadelphia, seeing some snowfall continuing up through New York. The darker colors are are showing the bands of some heavier snowfall in those areas. So we are seeing some bands of really heavy snowfall in places like Providence, Rhode Island, Boston, Massachusetts, as you get up into places in the extreme northeastern tier of the United States. So we are talking blizzard warnings for anywhere, including the whole state of Delaware, the whole state of New Jersey, the entire state of Connecticut, the entire state of Rhode Island, and then up through the majority of Massachusetts and all the way into Maine. So that spans hundreds of miles. We were underneath a blizzard warning on the eastern shore last night through early this morning, now downgraded to winter weather advisories. No winter storm warnings in our area, but winter storm warnings are in those pink colors as you see there. But overall, again, 70 million people in the path of this impactful storm. Now, what we're going to do now is talk about storm reports. If we could get to all these today, we'd probably be on the weather desk for 2 to 3 hours, honestly. So we're going to take it, and I'm going to go ahead and manually drive this. And so we're going to actually take this graphic full so people can see where the storm reports are in those areas. So let's go ahead and head south to north. So we're going to go, so in Norfolk, Virginia Beach, we had some areas, and it looks like now that people are waking up and they're starting to report some more areas. So let's go to Chesapeake, where someone reported 1/2 inch of snowfall. We were expecting a dusting up to 2 inches on the south side. In Norview, we got 1.5 inches. In Williamsburg, in York County, 1 inch and 2/10. We're going to take it up into the peninsulas where we were expecting higher snowfall totals. You get closer to Matthews and 1 inch of snowfall around Painter, 3 and almost 4 inches of snowfall. But here, look at the Wallops Island one, 11 inches of snowfall. This is the newest update. So this corrects a previous snow report reported at 1 a.m. this morning because snow kept falling in these areas overnight. So Wallops Island, 11 inches of snowfall there. Okay, so now we're going to go up into portions of Maryland and Delaware. We do have some other storm reports here. The Maryland Eastern Shore also seeing the brunt of this storm. So we're near Salisbury, Maryland, where they saw 4 inches of snow so far. That was reported at 9:30 p.m. last night, so I'm sure it's way more. As you can see, Sharpton, Maryland, reporting almost a foot of snow into Houston, Delaware. At 7:45 this morning, 10 inches of snow. And then here is one that looks like the gauge reached moderate flood stage. So, of course, coastal flooding was also an issue that we were expecting with these areas. Okay, now we're getting into Jersey and southeastern Pennsylvania. And we're going to take a few more coastal flood looks here. The gauge reached moderate flood stage in Tuckerton, New Jersey. We also are seeing 10 inches of snow there reported this morning from Ocean County, New Jersey. We'll head inland to Atlantic County, New Jersey, where they saw about over 8 inches of snowfall. We're going to go over here to Pennsylvania. And you see how hard it is to actually see where I'm trying to see because there's so many storm reports. Okay, let's see. Philadelphia. Okay. You see how many storm reports are there? It's like everything is a snowfall or like a little snow icon. Okay, in the heart of Philadelphia, we have seen maybe almost a foot of snow. We're going to go to Lansdale, Pennsylvania. Give me 1 second as I look this up so we can go ahead and get a better view without me having to struggle to find this. But this is from my producer. She's in the back. She really wanted to know what her family is seeing. So we're going to continue to head to the northwest of Philly by the zoo. Okay. Okay, she's talking in my ear. The one just south of Richland. Okay. Got it. Okay, she just told me where it is. We're going to do this one here just to the south and west or east of Richland. This is near Bucks County, so this is about 8.5 inches of snowfall, which is a little further inland, and that is why they may have not seen those totals as high. We're going to go up to New York State. And we will go, again, look how hard it is to even navigate this because everybody is reporting something. So we are going to go to these wind reports up here into the northeast. So this is in the Bronx, and you can see that there were non-thunderstorm wind gusts, obviously, because it's not a thunderstorm, it's a snowstorm. 61-mile-per-hour gusts were reported. As you head into Suffolk County, you had wind gusts of 67 miles per hour, and then 16 inches of snowfall in Bergen County. I mean, we are talking really high totals. We're going to go here closer to the water because this is where the snowfall totals were supposed to be the highest. And so we're going to go to Suffolk County, 9.5 inches of snow. That was reported last night, so I'm sure it's way more. A lot of these are coming in from overnight. Some people probably still asleep since they did have the day off. Blizzard conditions were reported in Suffolk County there around 8 a.m. and that started at 4. Okay, and we'll do one more area so we can go ahead and get to the other stories we have for today. We are going to go over here to areas of Massachusetts, and we'll talk some of these wind reports. So wind reports there in Middlesex County, 46 mile per hour gusts, up into Essex County, 36 mile per hour gusts, and then snowfall totals right now reported this morning around 5 inches, but the snow is still ongoing. Now, speaking of snow, in California, crews are working to prevent future avalanches from happening this season. We'll take a look at how the crews spent the weekend assessing conditions in Castle Peak, using helicopters and at times explosives to release unstable parts of the snowpack. Now, these mitigation efforts come nearly a week after 9 skiers were killed in an avalanche near Lake Tahoe. 6 others were rescued in that same avalanche. The group was on their way back from a 3-day backcountry expedition that included some skiing. After days of searching, crews recovered the final body from this avalanche and from the mountain over the weekend.
9 victims have been safely recovered for their families and their loved ones. While we wish we could have saved them all, we are grateful that we can bring them home.
Now, just days after the avalanche in California, another avalanche near Brighton Ski Resort in Utah claimed the life of an 11-year-old girl from Massachusetts. Daniel Woodruff heard from a few of the skiers who jumped in to try to save her life.
It was just scary and crazy.
It was kind of just like a surreal thing. You were like, what's even really happening right now?
Siblings Maggie and Harrison Garner were skiing in the backcountry near Brighton with their friend Darius Christensen.
And then I noticed the snow looked different and I was like, oh, it was an avalanche.
They learned a girl was buried.
In a moment of dire need, everybody came together and was like, we need to get to work and save this girl.
They worked to dig her out, but she didn't survive. Unified Police say the girl died at the hospital. She'd been in the area with her family. Police say the location where the slide happened was out of bounds of Brighton Ski Resort.
I was just super sad, just thinking what if it was like my family member, what I would be doing, and just thinking it was super sad for that family.
It was just super scary to think like how everything can go wrong that quick.
Darius's mom, Heidi, is grateful her son and his friends tried to help in someone's time of need.
My heart sank for that poor family, because I can't imagine going through something like that.
Very devastating news there again, and my heart goes out to her family. Now, switching gears, in Italy, 4 hikers had to be rescued after getting stranded on a snowy mountain there over the weekend. Take a look. This happened in the Abruzzo region, which is in the central part of the country. One of the hikers developed early frostbite in his lower limbs. All 4 were flown to a hospital a couple of hours away from Rome. And in those conditions, when we do have those below freezing conditions, especially when you add on the wind chill here in Hampton Roads, when that wind chill gets to about 5 degrees or 0 degrees or below 0, frostbite and hypothermia become more likely. In those cases, you need to make sure that you're wearing multiple layers, especially making sure that you cover your fragile extremities, meaning your ears, your nose, and your hands, including your fingers and also your feet and your toes. Now, we're going to take a quick break, but coming up in 2 minutes, I'm going to talk more about how the work week is shaping up as we say goodbye to that nor'easter and we say hello to some sunshine. More on that after the break. Welcome back, Hampton Roads. We got some rain and snow overnight, but the weather impact alert that we had in effect for your Sunday night into your Monday morning has since been lifted. And that was really because we were worried about just the morning commute, people getting out on the roads. Though I know a lot of school districts, either, especially around the peninsula, canceled and have a virtual learning day, or some school districts around the south side had a 2-hour delay. Now, let's talk about the active alerts we have across our area. No more winter storm warnings, no more blizzard warnings, because we are out of the actual active part of the event. Though we still do have some of these weather advisories across our area. And actually, I'll go back here and I'm going to do this. We're going to start this over so I can get you a look at what to expect. Thank you for pulling that up for me. So yes, weather alerts, they expand or from the York County area and James City County, Williamsburg as well. And then it goes up into the Middle Peninsula, Northern Neck, and the Eastern Shore, those areas in purple. A winter weather advisory is in place just because of those areas that do get some more accumulation, especially on the Eastern Shore. We did have some accumulations, again, up to almost a foot in some places. Going up the East Coast, again, another look at those winter weather alerts, and I'll take out my pointer here so you can see where I'm talking about. These red areas, Delaware, New Jersey, Southern New York, Connecticut, up into Rhode Island, Massachusetts, even the extreme coastal portions of New Hampshire and into Maine. These are blizzard warnings. Now, a lot of people may be thinking, okay, so if it's a blizzard, that means you're getting a lot of snow. Like, technically, in this sense, we will get a lot of snow in this amount in these areas as this system passes by. But blizzard warning is not about the amount of snow. It's about how the snow is falling in conjunction with really gusty winds, at least 35 miles per hour, that create whiteout conditions. But just by watching Good Morning America today, I saw those blizzard conditions, especially in places like Boston this morning. Now, we take a look at our satellite and radar, and you can see where that center of low pressure is, and it's just offshore of, really just south of Massachusetts, but you can see the snow ongoing, starting to dwindle now on the Delmarva Peninsula, but continuing for places like Rhode Island and Massachusetts this morning. Here in Hampton Roads, you can see that we are mainly dry, just a few isolated snowflakes for the Northern Neck and the Eastern Shore over the bay. That's about it. The rest of the day will be cloudy, windy, and mainly dry here across the area. Now, as we continue through the day today, Futurecast will show that the windy conditions continue. Wind gusts could be as high as about 35 miles per hour. Temperatures this morning starting off in the middle to upper 30s, and we really won't make it much further than that. Once we get to noon, we'll climb to most areas to the lower 40s. Around the water, we'll stay a bit cooler today, and by the afternoon, highs today will climb to at best in the lower to middle 40s. That's about 10 to 15 degrees below normal for this time of year. Cloud cover continues, and so do those breezy conditions. It's not until we get into later on tonight where the cloud cover starts to finally break apart here in Hampton Roads, leaving us with clearing skies and sunshine for early tomorrow morning. But because we'll have the clearing skies and we'll have those northwest winds, temperatures will drop off into the 20s and 30s overnight. So a chilly night for us. We have a lot of people who work on our local waters know that we do have a gale warning in effect until the afternoon for wind gusts up to about 45 knots on the bay and on the Atlantic. Waves in the bay 6 to 9 feet. In the Atlantic, we'll have seas 7 to 13 feet. We already had low tide this morning. High tide is at 1:15 p.m. Now let's talk more about what to expect as we get into the day tomorrow. And tomorrow, we're going to see temperatures back into the lower 30s to start off the morning. Places inland will be in the upper 30s. But then we get into the afternoon on your Tuesday, and we're right back to where we're going to be this afternoon. Highs will be still below normal in the lower 40s as that colder air really settles into Hampton Roads and northeastern North Carolina. The difference between today and tomorrow is that we'll have so much more sunshine tomorrow, with the cloudy maybe building back in later on during the late afternoon and evening, but even then, partly cloudy at most. So it should be a really beautiful day. Then I'm going to go ahead and give you a look at what to expect when it comes to the work week. And we are watching for yet another look at some rainfall that will come through here in Hampton Roads during the late week. So we'll go ahead and give you a look at this from our Futurecast model. And this Futurecast model will show how this rain will come through here. It's going to really start on Thursday. and it's going to take us here through Monday. You can see that the snowfall starts to really taper off. And then we get into your weekend, and as we approach the weekend, see if it loads again. Here we go. As we approach the weekend, if it will do it for me. Okay, there we go. Sorry, it was taking some time to load. As we do it through the weekend, Wednesday we may see an isolated shower. Here's Thursday morning, and you can start to see the rainfall building in here in Hampton Roads and becoming heavy at times before tapering off by early Friday morning. So expect a little bit of rainfall for the end of the week here in Hampton Roads. But when that cold front starts to approach, those south winds will allow us to see some of those temperatures to rise back into the lower 60s. And those lower 60s will be the warmest day we'll see over the course of the next really 7. And so expect the warmth to be very brief here in Hampton Roads. Your 5 to 7 day forecast shows temperatures in the lower to middle 40s today and tomorrow, but clearing skies tomorrow and not as breezy on your Tuesday. We get to Wednesday and Thursday, highs are back into the middle 50s and lower 60s. And then we have those showers coming through during the day on Thursday. Very early Friday, we'll see the rain exiting. And then on Saturday and Sunday, finally a weekend where at this point, I'm not anticipating a weather impact alert. Haven't seen anything that would give me any pause, but you know, we've been in that pattern where every single weekend, except for one over the past really 4 weekends, we've had a weather impact alert. And it finally looks like that this weekend will be near normal for this time of year. We should be in the middle 50s to 55 to 56 degrees, and we'll be right there this weekend with the preliminary forecast with sunnier skies on Saturday with a chance for isolated showers on Sunday. Now Sunday, this is the first day of March, so at least we're starting off March on a pretty good note. Now, for all your latest news and weather and traffic needs, you need to download the 13 News Now Plus app. You can scan the QR code on your screen right now, and that will take you to the App Store or the Google Play Store, so you can download the app. It's free, so you can track the latest, again, weather, traffic, and news headlines. It also gives you a radar to look at, and on days like these where we're tracking a massive winter storm. Thank you so much for joining me here today on the Weather Desk. Be sure to stay here on ABC, or I guess go over to ABC since you're on 13 News Now Plus, so you can watch the coverage of all of the winter weather across the Northeast today. I mean, when I tell you, it is incredible to watch how brutal those conditions are in places like the Northeast. We'll have more coverage on what's going on in the Northeast here on 13 News Now Plus, starting at noon with some updates from our reporters across the U.S. For now, I'm meteorologist Taylor Stephenson, and I'll see you back here again at 9 a.m. on the Weather Desk tomorrow morning. Have a great day.